Hey guys, Adrian Clarke here. Let's break down Arsenal's performance against Athletic Club Bilbao, shall we? Fantastic 3-0 win to round off pre-season and just what the team needed after those defeats to Spurs and Villarreal. We have to start with Viktor Gyokeres, of course. He scored his first goal in Arsenal colours and it was an absolute peach. I did hear that he never scored headers for Sporting. Well, he scored a quite brilliant header in this game from a spectacular cross from Martin Zubimendi on the run, wrapped his right foot around the ball. The thing that made it special from Gyokeres' point of view was the run. It was the timing of the run, the quality of the run, the sharpness of the run, because he timed it to perfection on the angle, and then it was a textbook glancing header into the bottom corner, and it was just what the doctor ordered, and he almost got himself a second header later on in the game, like a diving one, when Noni Madueke clipped one in from the left-hand side. Really good, improvised effort that I think the keeper might have touched onto the post. So, yeah, look, that is a huge bonus. Not just that Viktor Gyokeres scored, he also scored a header, so that should give him plenty of confidence that he can score in that manner in an Arsenal shirt. Now, what was the big difference in this game compared to Villarreal? I would say that the opposition didn't play as deep, so there was a little bit more space for him to run into. But also it was clear, crystal clear to me, that the players have been working on it and that they were looking much quicker for the runs that he makes. And boy, does he make a lot of runs, Viktor Gyokeres. He is tireless in his work ethic. Without the ball, he presses really hard. But it's when Arsenal have the ball, he's always looking to run down the side of defenders. And he did it particularly well down the left side. And I think that is going to be an area that he torments opponents in this season. He's quick, he's powerful, and he's very, very hard to stop. And once he gets into the final third, one thing we have noticed in recent games is how good he is at chopping back onto his right foot. He does it very, very effortlessly, and he's difficult to stop in those situations. So, yeah, his runs down the left were particularly eye-catching. He did make some down the right as well. I also felt that his link play really, really improved in this game, Viktor Gyokeres. He looked stronger, he looked fitter, as he would do, but it was the way he was backing into defenders to set the ball off for teammates. And of course, he did that quite superbly for Arsenal's second goal. The ball comes into him, he backs in, he holds them off. Little set for Odegaard. It's a perfect little set because it allows him to play the ball over the top nice and quickly for Martinelli, who then tees up Bukayo Saka to score. So that was terrific. In the second half, he's battling defenders. And I remember there's one time where really he was getting fouled. He stays on his feet and he slips Bukayo Saka in behind. So Viktor Gyokeres, absolutely superb. I think it was an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance from him. And I think now you can see the difference that he will make because he stretches teams. And how does he stretch teams? He stretches teams by runs, giving the man on the ball an option beyond just the pass to feet. He can handle that, it's fine, but he will run in beyond. And that is going to get Arsenal up the pitch. And hopefully it's going to help Arsenal create better chances this season. There's maybe only one player that outshone Viktor Gyokeres in this game, and that was Martin Zubimendi. Absolutely superb. It's a sublime performance, really, from start to finish. I talked about the cross for the goal on the run, just technically outstanding. It had whip and pace, and it was just perfect in its direction. I don't have stats for these games, and I will be bringing those in, by the way, into these match analysis videos moving forward. I'm going to bring in some stats. I'm going to bring in hopefully some screenshots with some arrows that I can include, but I'll save that for the Premier League action where the footage is much more accessible than it is for these pre-season friendlies. So I don't have the stats, but I can tell you now, Zubimendi didn't really give the ball away very much at all. His passing was really sharp. He showed quick feet in tight areas as well on a couple of occasions. He's very, very composed and confident on the ball, and he does things quickly, and that makes such a difference to any team. If you've got a midfield player that can just break the line or just move the ball on half a second, even a quarter of a second quicker than somebody else, it has value because the opposition defenders aren't set. There was one beautiful ball over the top for Bukayo Saka in the second half from Zubimendi that put him away. That showed that he's got that range as well. He fed Madueke down the left in the second half with a really, really good early pass. Remember, there was a lovely move down the right as well in the first half. Neat little 1-2 with Bukayo Saka, and he's away down that side. And that's one thing I really noticed about Zubimendi, particularly in the first half, actually, in terms of his positioning. He's very comfortable in that kind of right-back zone. He doesn't just stay in the middle. He'll pull out to right-back, and it allowed Timber to come in field on that occasion, just when Timber fancied it. When he went in field, just caused the player that he was marking, just asked a little question, like I think it was Nico Williams. He took him in field, and it just created a little space at right back. Zubimendi is intelligent, he sees it, he gets the ball off of him, and he starts moves down that side. So yeah, this was a near flawless performance from Zubimendi. So, I mean, it's always nice to win, especially your last pre-season friendly. But when your two biggest signings of the summer are effectively two of your star men, then it's hugely important. Let's talk a bit of tactics, shall we? And what I picked up in this game. First one really is Declan Rice's positioning. I felt that he was more of a double pivot really in this match than he would normally be. I think there is an element of frustration when he's so high up the pitch. Last season, he would, as a matter of course, almost stay high in that left 8 role. And in that position, he can be very, very good. But I think he's better coming from deep, where he can travel with the ball and surge upfield. I don't really want Declan Rice standing up there, waiting for the ball to come. And of course, if he is already up there and Arsenal lose the ball, then that holding midfielder, in this case now, Martin Zubimendi, are very, very isolated. So what we saw here was Ricardo Calafiori really was the trigger for this. Calafiori he's a crazy left back really, isn't he? He's such a buccaneering spirit, and he was the one standing in the left 8 position. He was the one pushing on for fun, causing opponents problems, and that had just created a little bit of space for Declan Rice as basically an orthodox left side central midfielder alongside Zubimendi to get more of the ball. And I think we want Declan Rice to have more of the ball, don't we? And we saw some fantastic switches of play from him. So if you can imagine, Calafiori bombs on, Gabriel moves to more of a left-back position, Saliba just to the right of centre, and really it's almost a left-side centre-back position at times, just ahead of that really, Rice getting the ball and making things happen. And that comes to the other point I wanted to make in terms of tactics, and that were the switches of play, particularly from Rice, from Calafiori. I think Gabriel might have hit one or two as well. Early on in the game, boom, left to right, these crossfield passes to Saka were absolutely superb. They were going over the left back, and we also were causing them all sorts of problems. Now, this is good for a number of reasons. It gets Saka in the game, it stretches the opposition. And the thing is, if you can turn them with those passes, the effect it has is that team will then drop off 5 or 10 yards. They'll be worried about the ball, those crossfield passes going over the top of their fullback. So they drop off, and then also get the chance to play. What you'll have noticed in the game is that those crossfield passes happened really early, and they dried up a little bit, but that's mainly because Athletic Club Bilbao just dropped off. But the positive is it gave us more time to go and play in front of them, and then ultimately in beyond them. In terms of Saka as well, electric first half again. He's not been able to sort of match his first half performances with a second too often in pre-season. It's not a worry, but it's just an observation. But in the first half, oh my goodness, untouchable. And what I particularly liked about him was his willingness to go on the outside. If he can perfect that, because we know he comes in on his left brilliantly, if he can perfect the move of shifting it onto his right foot and going to the byline on that side, he's every left back's nightmare. And he had the beat him of every time. He could have scored more than one. He could have created a couple of goals as well. So really good, strong performance from Saka. Another point in terms of tactics, runners. I mention this all the time on Live from M5. Didn't really have enough runners last year that wanted to drag their markers, their opposite numbers, into places they don't want to go. And in this game, we absolutely did that. And really, if you've got good passers like Ødegaard, like Zubimendi, like Saka, whoever, you need runners. You need runners to give them something to aim for. And we saw it brilliantly for the goal that I described earlier, where Gyokeres sets it for Ødegaard. And Ødegaard can play the ball over the top because Martinelli's on his bike. He's made that angled run from left to centre. He gets on the end of it. The keeper gets drawn out. He tees up Saka for an open goal. Then we get to the third, which was absolutely superb. Such a good moment for Kai Havertz. But again, the ball sort of about pops up for Bukayo Saka. He looks over his shoulder and he sees the run of Havertz. He's off. He's on his bike, so he lobs it over the top. If there's no run, that pass either just runs through to the goalkeeper or he doesn't even play that pass. That's the more likelihood, if truth be told. So he lobs it over the top, and then Havertz showed unbelievable speed. I mean, I didn't know he was that quick. I know he's been working out in the gym this summer. He's added power to his game. It looks to me as if he's had some sprint training or certainly been working on his speed. But what was as impressive as the speed was the touches. So at high speed, he produced 3 or 4 perfect touches to make sure that the defender couldn't get near him. Superb from him. And then the left foot finish was absolutely sublime from Kai Havertz. So yeah, it's such a bonus. Obviously Gyokeres playing well, and then Havertz coming off the bench and making an impact. Right, before I finish, let's talk about 1 or 2 other positives. I think Gabriel was a big positive. Magalhaes got on the end of a couple of set pieces. I think he was dominant in his duels, particularly early on. He just looked sharper. He looked better for the run out against Villarreal. I thought, yeah, he looked back to sort of how you expect Gabriel to be. I think now he'll play at Old Trafford. Who's going to play at right back? It's a really tough call. It was a big bonus for us to get more minutes into Timber, also moved to left back. But White comes on and does well again. And that chemistry he's got with Saka does count for a lot, in my opinion. And I think based on pre-season, you probably give White the shirt for the match at Manchester United. Calafiori was a big plus for me. 1 or 2 wayward passes, but he causes so much chaos with his movement, with his positivity, that it helps the rest of the team. It helps people like Declan Rice and others, maybe Gabriel Martinelli as well, because things was less structured when Calafiori's there, and that sort of absence of structure actually can create more space, and it certainly did for Gyokeres and Martinelli down that left-hand side. There's a lot of confusion, I think, among the Spanish defence. So that was a big positive, and so was Noni Madueke coming off the bench, and being really positive, getting to the byline, making things happen, and yeah, just being super positive in everything that he did. I think him and Martinelli both performed pretty well on the left-hand side. Probably Martinelli gets the start at Old Trafford, but Madueke sort of stuck his hand up here. What I would say is that maybe the end product for Madueke in this game was a little bit better than Martinelli's. He found teammates with those crosses and cutbacks. So yeah, it's a step forward for him, and it was interesting, wasn't it, that he played on the left. So let's, in conclusion, I guess, we should say that this was just what we needed in terms of performance levels. I think the combination play definitely was the best it's been all pre-season in this match. It's clear to me that Gyokeres and Zubimendi will elevate the team. And the reason they really elevate, apart from their ability, is the dynamism they bring. And this team needed just a little dash more dynamism and power and athleticism. And Gyokeres and Zubimendi definitely bring it. There were no defensive issues, nothing really to talk about at all. We lost the ball inside their own half a couple of times, which was dicey. But that aside, we solved the issues that we faced against Villarreal. The players looked fitter, they looked sharper, and they looked full of running. And I guess in real conclusion, they looked ready for the start of the season. So yeah, great day for Arsenal. Fantastic win. Results don't matter, of course. It was all about the performance. But for me, this was a truly excellent performance that gave us more than a few glimpses of what this team can become with the new faces on board. That's all for me for today then. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Please do tell your friends. Please keep coming back. I'll be back once or twice, I think, before the big one at Old Trafford on Sunday. So I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Bye for now.